We have another witness on the phone, Rick Ianelli, joining us this hour. Sir, thank you for taking the time to talk to us. What can you tell us about this incident? Why were you there, and what happened while you were there?
Well, I was looking to purchase a car for a friend of mine up in Maine at DNS Auto, and my car was due to come through lane E, which was right next door to the F lane where the accident occurred. And I was on the other side of the building where the cars typically enter to go into the auction lanes. And I was sitting there, and I heard a big boom, and I was talking to another car buyer that was up there. And we both turned and ran inside the building. And as I was coming out, I mean, the auctions typically are very, very crowded, very busy. There's people, you know, all around the cars as they're coming through the lanes so people can inspect them and check out some last-minute, things on the cars before they purchase or bid. And they were all rushing towards the front of the building, and I saw the front wall of the building had collapsed, and a car was in there, and I ran outside. And I saw 3 people that were on the ground, and they seemed to look like they were employees of the auction because they were wearing the orange vests that they typically wear. And my family works up there, so I was right there, and I'm up there not very frequently, but I was there that day when it happened, or today.
Rick, when you went towards the wreckage that happened, describe to me what the scene was like. I mean, it had to have been just frantic inside.
It was. I mean, there were people at the entrance to the doorways that were crying. They were all upset. Excuse me, that may have witnessed what had actually happened. As I got outside, I saw the 3 people on the ground. One of them was receiving CPR, so the emergency crews were there along with the regular detail officers that were on duty. So, I mean, that's what I witnessed, but obviously a lot of people were very upset. A lot of people were very afraid and scared.
Did you recognize the driver or any of the victims? What can you tell us about them?
No, I wasn't familiar. I mean, the auctions typically employ hundreds of employees on the day of the auction to bring the vehicles in, to watch the parking lots. Plus, hundreds of people are in there buying cars. So they're surrounding the vehicles, they're checking them all out. So it's a very, very busy thing when they hit the auction lanes themselves. So, I mean, I didn't recognize anybody. I didn't know the guy that was driving. I've heard that he may have had a medical incident, or that the Jeep itself may have had throttle problems.
Rick, let me ask you this. You were sitting at the entrance to, like, where the cars actually come into the building. Right. We were talking to a couple of other people who were inside who said that it was almost immediate that Jeep sped up and went racing right through the building. Did you hear it rev up? Did you what led up to the actual boom? Did you hear anything?
Well, it's so busy up there, and they've got so many microphones in the auction bays. It's very, very loud. I heard the boom when it hit, and as I ran in, I saw the smoke from the building and the dust settling. But I didn't really hear the vehicle actually speed up or anything because of the noise level that's in the building.
How fast or how slowly do the cars actually move once they get inside? When things go the way they're planned, how fast are the cars moving inside the building?
Well, they're usually one right behind the other, so they're bumper to bumper going through, and they're barely rolling when they come through the auction. So, I mean, they're very well controlled as far as speed goes in there. But like I said, there are people milling around all the time, checking out the vehicles, and they turn around and they, more or less, as they come into the bay, they're just barely rolling. So to have a car accelerate like that is really out of the ordinary.
Can you speak to the volume of people who were there? We know right now that 13 people are injured and at least 3 people are dead. You've been to these auctions before. From the video that we've been able to see, sent in by witnesses captured via their cell phone, this is a large crowd.
Yes. Yes. Most of the auctions, when they have their auction day, The Linway Auto Auction is usually on Wednesday, and the Framingham auction, I believe, is on Friday. So, you know, these same people will go from auction to auction. And I'm talking, you know, there's hundreds of buyers there. There's people that are buying for dealerships all over the country. There are local dealers. There are local auto sales shops that send their people up to buy. So it's hectic with the amount of people there, but it's usually very well controlled.
What can you tell us about those who drive the cars? Do you know anyone who's ever done that type of job? Are they usually people who are just looking for some extra cash, or do they belong to the base at these auction houses, the base of employees?
Yeah, I don't really want to comment on that because I really don't have any knowledge of who they hire or how they hire. But I do know that on auction day they do bring in a lot of extra help to come in and pull the cars through.
All right, Rick Ianelli, thank you very much for joining us on the phone.